played it tons of times in solo queue maybe, and
actually
not really in pre-meta. Okay, that's a problem. No, I agree. I think Giants keep it simple. That's what we like. That's why we on the desk as well. The simple casters, except for your hair is a little bit
crazy. Keep it simple, keep it safe. Let's get into these bans. So Azir and Aurelia obviously aimed at SmityJ, not the Azir, that's aimed at Knight. And Vladimir.
Unless secrets,
maybe
surprises.
He's got the top lane Azir ready to bust out. But no, Vladimir is going to be banned away. Chen as well. Two interesting bans there as Vladimir was 100% ban or picked so far in 6-12, of course, last week.
Yeah, and it was funny because we talked about it coming into the week, how Vladimir was broken. Like, he's just too good. And the teams were like, we let him through, you know, a few times, and every time he won. 6-0 last week, and every time the players said, yeah, he's too good, you know, we couldn't deal with him. Obviously, you can debate, do we have the right counter picks in Europe for him? Maybe not if you look at other regions, but not relevant for this game because he is taken away.
Yep, nope. Olaf also bans, 12 bans on him so far. Trundle as well, and that will round out the bans. You can see the quick hover there on Jace, the Parang special. He brought that out once and still lost the game.
All right, what do you want to see here, boss? What do you want to see?
I want to see Jace from
we
Parang,
don't want to see Jace first pick. Karma obviously has been a very stable early pick for a lot of teams. You can flex it, so that's very strong. AD carry picks, we've actually seen Caitlyn.
She's been banned a lot.
Been banned and then picked very early in the draft as well. Nidalee is open. We know Maxlore likes to play it. Airwaks, he is an aggressive early jungler, but he's always... It feels like he always prioritizes different picks than just the Nidalee, and this is interesting.
Rec'sai, okay, so Swain going to be picked up, and that's been banned out a bunch against Roccat, all because of Betsy. 11 bans on him, and Betsy has had some killer Swain performances, so you can understand why, but yeah, easy early pickup for Roccat.
But man, that's a first pick in Europe we don't see, unless it's Roccat playing. Like, they're the only team keeping that Swain banner lifted, keeping it alive, basically, because I actually think after his nerfs, he's not that strong of a pick. I think he's a snowball pick, right? If he does well early, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go full late game necessarily, but he needs a good start. And Giants have now tons of time to draft around this Swain. Remember, he can go top lane. He can go top lane if you want to play like a melee champion.
Yeah, I feel very unlikely with Betsy on the team and Parang being the top laner,
fair.
But yes, I believe that is a possibility. Jhin's going to be picked up here, given to Sonstar. Actually funny, some of the weaker performing ADCs in the league have been picking up Jhin, and who is not an easy champion to play and doing really well with him. So going to be picking that early on to the draft along with Braum. So bot lane locked in here for Giants, not prioritizing the jungler perhaps for Maxlore.
And that's again where this Swain pick is, to me, very surprising, because I actually don't think Giants would have picked it. At least again, if you follow last week's trends, we're on the same patch, 6.12. We haven't switched yet. Like, no other team really looked at Swain that much. We saw him a few times here and there. So Giants get two comfort picks. Hustlin on Braum, it's great for him. He likes to play these tanky melee supports. Yep. And obviously, as you talked about, the jhin for Sonstar. So I feel like Giants are getting a good start in this pick and ban phase because Roccat puts so much focus on Swain.
For sure. There's the Lucian pickup coming in here for Steeelback, and Hecarim as well. Most likely going in the jungle here. Can also go top lane, but we're seeing it out of jungle mostly.
Yeah. Also, Airwaks played it already in the jungle. Fun lineup, very tanky already from Roccat. If it's Hecarim jungle, Swain mid lane, a bruiser or tank top lane, like that's like a beefy lineup. And Giants will need some damage to break through. Hecarim is fantastic once he gets Cinderhawk, and one item extra completed, he becomes extremely strong. But he's not really the jungler who snowballs your Swain in the early game, so I would like to see an early game jungler from Giants who can gank. Rek'sai could work, Elise is fantastic for early game pressure. And then you try and camp the Swain. I think that's the way to play this. H2K showed it last week when they played against the Swain in mid. They're like, all right, lock in Kindred, gank level 3 mid lane, and just camp that mid lane. And Swain fell behind.
Come on, Knight, lock it. You know you want to.
You can do it.
We've seen a Cassiopeia once so far in European LCS. NA's picked a bunch, and it is a Knight signature pick, so he's going to lock it in. Really good to see this. There was a lot of hype around him coming into the league. There's like highlight clips everywhere of him on his Cassiopeia, his Zilean. We really wanted to see it, and now he's bringing it out, so I'm pretty happy to see this one.
Yeah, he's a master of the Cassiopeia ulti into flash, so there's no reaction time really from the other team. Instantly you will get stunned. Great pick for him. And yes, it's a pick North America really likes. Other regions have been using it more and more. few times in Europe as well, a bit like Swain. We just see him a few times here and there. Not really become a stable pick yet. But I do think this is a very, very good draft right now from Giants. Cassiopeia has a good laning phase. Not as strong as the Swain straight up, but when you compare that when you pair it with a rek'sai, there are room for early ganks, early pressure around the mid lane.
We'll definitely like to see that coming up from Maxlore, and he has generally put a lot of pressure towards the mid lane or whoever is winning. And well, we've got the hovers so far here, Deficio. And that's going to be locked in. So there's the Karma, actually making it very far through the picks and bans. Usually we see Karma as a very early pick. Lissandra also picked up, so you would assume, well, actually that could go either way.
They can both go top.
Yeah.
So they're trying to bait Giants a little bit, but you know it's an AP range top laner. Meaning that a pick like the good old Tryndamere probably won't work very well. But if you can pick something like a Gnar, who's very safe, at least once he gets a few levels, farm from range, that could be an option. You can pick a pure tank as well. Swain will be able to beat you in the laning phase, especially if he gets the 1v1. So I actually want to see what SmityJ wants to pick. I think this is okay from Roccat because they're trying to target a big part of Giants' strategy, which is SmityJ on a split pusher where he gets ahead early on. Like with the ban of Olaf, Irelia, Trundle ban on the side of Giants, Rumble being locked in.
Wow, okay, cool. Seeing him in Europe, haven't seen him last week. We did see him in some of the Asian regions, but not really in Europe just yet. So interesting to see that one. Saw it like once or twice in Challenger, I believe, but not in the LCS. That's going to be going up against what you would assume is a Lissandra. They still have a little bit, 20 seconds to swap around these mid and top picks.
See, this is where, Paul, I'm very, very happy to follow other regions because a lot of these picks look a bit like new in Europe. Hecarim still hasn't been played that much in Europe yet. Lissandra top lane, Rumble being back, Cassiopeia being used. So if you only watch the EU LCS, there's a lot of picks here where you're like, oh, okay, surprising.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I didn't expect all these picks to come in here. But around the world, especially in Korea, a lot of Rumble is being played. Proto build as your first item. It's very, very strong. You have a lot of mid-game damage. So I'm very excited for these comps because you cannot play a slow game with these team comps. Like, this will be crazy fighting in the mid game with Lissandra, who's strong in the mid game. Rumble is fantastic in the mid game. Like, if we get a 40-minute game where nothing happens, both teams are playing it wrong.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised as well with Giants, who generally do get up and personal with their opponents, and maybe
they want to
fight them closing out. But Roccat as well have traditionally had a weaker early game, but their late game team fighting has been generally on point. But there we have the full composition. So jump on Twitter, use the hashtag ROC win, GIA win, and we'll see what you guys are thinking about these compositions and this game as we head into this one. First game of the day here in the studio. This one should be fun indeed with these compositions. Roccat versus Giants.
Some great reading there, Pauls.
Reading from what, Deficio?
If it's in the prompter, you gotta read it, man. That's how it goes. We
so
had
scripted.
A little run Virgin Team moment. Sadly, we didn't get it.
Yeah,
maybe
not
next
today.
time.
Someone will put the question mark in there eventually, but do you have some question marks on this game? I'm Richard Paul's Cam. There you go. Airwaks coming out here with the Hecarim. As you mentioned, haven't seen a ton of Hecarim, but he's been seeing more than the Rumble and the Cassiopeia coming out here.
Definitely, yeah. He actually wasn't very successful last week in Europe. He fell behind in most of the games. He is a jungler that can be punished in the early stages of the game. Not that much by rek'sai. It's more if you put like Nidalee or Elise against it, you can really invade and punish him. I think this is perfectly fine for Airwaks. You have a matchup where both junglers can scale, but mainly the Hecarim can get a great mid-game off. Like, give him 2 items. If he gets ahead early, give him a Trinity Force, and he's a monster. But again, like, we got mid-game focused top laners, Rumble and Lissandra. You have strong engage on the side of Roccat. Not a composition where you sit for 30 minutes and do nothing like they have been doing in the past. Like, you play aggressive with these kind of comps. You have strong laning from Swain. I'm super excited for these pick and ban phases here. So definitely watch this game because there will be a lot of stuff going on.
I am watching it, Deficio.
I'm
also looking at the keystones coming in for Sonstar. We were having a discussion off air about jhin and the 2 choices you can make. That's very annoying, Smitty. But Thunderlords and Deathfire Touch and the benefits of each. Obviously, you get more burst with Thunderlords.
More burst, Thunderlords is more damage in the early to mid game as well until you get a ton of AD. And there's another reason you go for Thunderlords. It's because on the way to the Keystone, you can get flat armor penetration in the Cunning Tree, which is super, super useful when you already build flat penetration. You want as much as possible, obviously, from Sonstar. A lot of Korean gyms also go armor penetration runes, which is
and indeed,
even
Sonstar
better.
is running armor penetration.
All
so
right.
there we go.
So we get armor penetration talents, we get armor penetration build, and armor penetration runes from this Jhin.
Talents.
Talents, man.
Yeah, get those talents in. But yeah.
He is against two champions who will build Hourglass, where obviously that will ruin the fun a little bit for Sonstar. We know Airwaks will go tank, and look at this, boys. We got new toys in Europe.
Yes, we do. There's a lane swap cam, so we can see exactly when the towers go down and if any advantage go to either team. And we'll keep a track on that. It is, of course, a lane swap, so you guys know the draw by now here in Europe for sure. But looking towards this mid lane, Cassiopeia has a pretty decent laning phase. She last hits very easy. Basically, Annie on steroids with just last hitting with E because you get the mana back.
One of the best changes, by the way. You don't need
There's
the poison
changes.
down. Change. Yeah, just hit puberty here, so give me a bit of time, please.
Yeah, no problem. It's, yeah, Betsy as well. See if we can just get a little further into this game because mid-game Swain with a couple items very scary. That was very brave of Betsy, taking a lot of those Twin Fangs on the retreat there from Knight.
But I feel like, I mean, both teams, again, mid-game have a lot of power. Once you get Rod of Ages and Tier, or actually once you get Tier on Cassiopeia, you can start trading so effectively, you almost get mana back. It's just that strong on her with the dealing damage part, because you can spam E, again, you don't need the poisons down necessarily. So you are actually very, very good at fighting in the mid-game. Both team comps are. Karma is fantastic laning support, obviously. Even have decent base damage in the mid-game. So a lot of good things to look at, but let's take a look at just the comps, right?
All right.
Just the comps. We go back. Is this a lane swap? Team's just going to swap
Put your
around.
hands over the middle of the screen.
Put my hands in the middle of the screen here. Obviously, mixed damage from both. Not really a surprise. No one is running a massive front line either. It's very explosive instead, like Lissandra, Rumble. These champions who can buy a bit of time, but they're not tanks. It's Hecarim who's a tank, it's rek'sai who's a tank. That's it. And then Swain, we know, wants to buy tons of time in these fights. So we might have one of these games where if one team starts getting ahead in the mid game, they just snowball out of control. Everyone else is too squishy. There's too much damage on the other side. Can go for both teams. And they just run over the other team.
So something I think about sometimes, Deficio, is someone places down a ward
me?
in front of you. It is you, but also on top of thinking about you, Deficio, I look at people clearing out wards when you know you don't have enough attack speed in the early game, and they go for it anyway. They get the 2 hits and they'll never come back.
Frustration.
Yeah. Because Airwaks was like, I'm going to stick around here for an extra 2 seconds to hit this. I know I'm not going to kill it. And I'm going to back away and never come back up again.
Maybe he's used to running like tons of attack speed runes, and he would actually kill it. And then he picked a different rune page.
I mean, you know you need more than 0.8 attack speed to clear it out.
Tons of attack speed.
Yeah.
To clear it out. But we do see this lane swap ended very early. And Airwaks, he's ghosting up.
He's going to come here onto SmityJ. Parang is out of range, and he will flash away. So, burning the flash in the top lane. Parang was very far back, though. I feel like SmityJ is probably just going to be knocked back to his tower by Airwaks.
Well, I actually quite like the gank, at least just to force the flash. Like, no reason to take a chance. And because the wave was pushing towards Parang, SmityJ had to overextend with no tower behind him. Because what happened in this game was both teams, after having the lane swap, were ready to take standard lanes. So Roccat actually sent their dual lane to the bottom side. Giants returned to the bottom side as well. Meaning now we have a situation where 2 lanes don't have a tower to protect them. Top lane means you can gank easy. Bot lane means you can TP gank. But it's a Rumble right now who is not even close to level 6. So your TP ganking is not very effective. Meaning that Giants probably won't be able to really take advantage of Roccat liking a tower right now at least.
Yeah, I want to see if Giants can get good setup for their fights and how they get the TPs down. Because it's a lot harder to TP in as Rumble as it is like with Lissandra or like a tank. You can't just TP in the middle of the team, then instantly ult, because you'll get popped instantly if you don't have Zhonya's Hourglass. And Rumble typically doesn't go for that early. He goes for Protobelt and Spell Penetration. So it's really down to Giants to get good wards for him, where he's kind of in fog. That would be optimal to land the Equalizer from out of range. Yeah,
that's a big problem for Giants overall, is they don't run engage in this composition. So it's kind of comes where if you're not at the objective first, you often can't even fight for it. Because you have to then like run through with a Jhin, with a Cassiopeia here can't really get close enough without getting flanked by Lissandra, and then the fight is over. Hecarim flying over the wall. So Giants need to always be proactive, always be there first to set up the objectives. But they also have what I call a bit of a siege composition. I think the new Cassiopeia is actually really good in siege comps because of a new W. Miasma here that covers such a large part of the map. Had a lot of fun with that one last week, but we won't repeat that. So because you can cover so much ground with the W, and then it actually sets up the jhin W as well with the snare. So you can start sieging on these objectives and towers. Very, very effective, but there's enough engage on Roccat to always jump Giants when they're trying to set up a siege. So it's a difficult comp for Giants to execute, where I feel like Roccat is a little bit more simple in how you want to play. TP in Lissandra, she's your main engage, then follow up from the Hecarim, and the fight is on.
Yeah, I feel so often with Hecarims that we're seeing recently, even though we haven't seen a lot of them, where he's generally going in as like primary engage and also behind, so he just goes in, ult dies instantly. But Airwaks is having a pretty smooth early game here, so should be able to get towards 1 item, 2 item a lot faster. It's
what we talked about, right? rek'sai won't really pressure Hecarim that much early. It needs to be an Elise or an Italy, picks like these that can really bully early on. Airwaks doesn't have, he does have his ghost one more time. A new ping has been set up by Parang, so they're trying to be a bit annoying against SmityJ. Whenever this lane is pushing towards Parang, Airwaks is here every time. So this is not SmityJ playing poorly. That's not why he's losing this lane at the moment, or losing the pressure in the lane. It's because Roccat is setting up to gank him every time.
Yeah, I actually like that from Smitty. Just popping the ult there so he can go back to base, knowing that there could be a gank around the corner, knowing that Airwaks could be there, which he was right in this case. So works out. So we'll go back to base. And ultimately, he's not going to be engaging with it anytime soon, really. First Dragon is also Cloud Dragon, so it's not like he has to go bot lane immediately and try and contest that.
It's getting buffed.
It is, yes. But also because of how diminishing returns work and also still being out of combat. We'll see how it works. But that is 6:13, and we are on 6:12. I said that very Australian for some reason. Maxlore coming out here. 13. Betsy is going to get a good never move, and that was not a good ult there from Knight. Going to get the knockup though from Maxlore. Flash back from Betsy, and the Twin Fangs will follow up. The poison damage is huge, and that will be first blood.
I really like this. When you play against the Swain, we know how good he is in the early game and how he needs to snowball. Just early gank him. Would have liked to see an even earlier gank, but this is perfectly fine. Yeah, good setup and good trading.
Also feels really good when you miss all of your skill shots and then hit all of the point and click abilities and you still get the kill.
He got the slowdown.
Yeah, he got the slowdown. And then he was like Twin Fang, Flash Ignite. Maxlore, however, got the sick knockup, so they burnt a lot of resources from that, but Betsy, of course, used both his summoners and also died, so pretty good turnout for Giants. But take a look at this from Knight.
Yeah, again, so he ends up not getting the stun on his ulti, but you have enough damage at this point, and that's what Giant knows here. Okay, as soon as you get the knockup in, well, you have the damage. Just follow up. Easy to spam Twin Fangs on this Swain here. I just want to see a follow-up now from Airwaks. You know, you have a Cassiopeia with no flash in the mid lane against the Swain. That's where the Hecarim can strike easily. Yeah. Lissandra can TP in easily, and you can just collapse on Knight. Betsy's always pushing the lane, trying to use the bird to like harass on the tower. But this means Knight won't get ganked. So for now, it's fine. Like, Cassiopeia is one of the best champions at lasting on the tower. Like, it's almost impossible to fail it.
Yeah, can confirm. And
because you failed it, or?
No, because I hit all of them. It's so easy. It's just like E, everything down.
E, there we go.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. And because it does so much damage at this stage, because he's got 5 points in it, literally you can just wait for tower shot to hit it once, and you can kill the minion. Poison damage is really significant now, but it's less forgiving. It's actually really nice with the changes to cast.
Airwaks agrees here. He's setting up for a gank. Maxlore is around. Spots him.
Prey has been sought out.
I think Airwaks was moving around in the bush.
Okay, for the tremor sense. All right.
Yeah, I think he got spotted by it first, and that's why Maxlore.
The sickest read of all time.
Exactly. Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, I know exactly where he's going to be. Well, to be fair, he knew a gank was likely to happen in the mid lane, and then you just kind of 50-50 on a bush.
Well, it's still good. I was impressed. I was like, man, he must be the worst person to play battleships against, because you know where everything is before you even start. But Sonstar...
He was cheating.
He's been cheating all along. Maxlore, he's going down here, clearing out the wards, clearing out the... I'm not sure what that was about. Either he missed the Skull Crab or was trying to win to bite the ward. But either way...
Oh, he steals it.
Stolen away.
Small things to get hyped about.
Raise.
It's not over yet,
He's stuck
Pulse.
between a rek'sai and a hard place. Here comes Steeelback, and they're both going to get knocked up here. Good long-range ultimate. Here comes the ult coming in from jhin as well. Following on to Steeelback. Look at that fourth shot to land onto Parang, and he'll back away. Nice kill by Giants.
And this is what we mentioned like a few minutes ago, how there's no tower behind Roccat in the bottom lane, so that sets up a TP from the Rumble. A little bit of a different situation. Airwaks, nah, he's fine. He's baiting.
He's okay.
He wants to show his horse here, and he loses his red buff for it. Giants with control, good setup. Race getting jumped on. And remember, Pulse.
Okay, what am I remembering?
You need to remember that Sonstar is getting ganked.
He is. Airwaks is coming in. Sonstar's got the swag walk. That really didn't do as much damage as he wanted it to. Onslaught of Shadows will follow Sonstar afterwards and still get the fear down. Here comes Parang. Steeelback with the kill.
Got a flash to the side if you want to dodge that, but then again, it's almost impossible. In the end, he flashed, forced Airwaks to use the ulti. Small things, just ganks here and there. So Race looks good. You know, he steals it. Problem for him is Maxlore is already behind him at this point. Ward being placed down, and at this point, you're not really getting out of this one. And those go down. It's a good little setup from Giants. Didn't get enough. Didn't get enough because your second reward is a Cloud Drake. Which they didn't even kill, did they? Nope.
Kill what?
Nope, didn't even kill the Cloud
Nope.
Drake.
No, they did not. So Cloud Drake lives another day. Is doing very well. He's been living for a long time, 13 minutes.
Funny enough, I mean, just to jump on that point,
What,
the
Cloud
Drake
Dragon?
that's always alive the longest. All right, Jeopardy time here.
Okay, all right.
Take a crazy guess.
What am I guessing? You haven't given me
Yeah,
guess
no.
about- Okay.
This dragon is always alive the longest. So now you gotta be like beep.
Oh,
and
I'll
then
take it for 100 points. It's not very good compared to the rest of the dragons.
You forgot to say what is.
Infernal, very good for snowballing. Mountain
You
Dragon.
are so bad at Jeopardy, it's insane.
What?
You're supposed to say what is the Cloud Drake?
Oh.
Because it's alive the longest. Because no one wants to kill it.
Yeah, I messed it up. Sorry.
And you also didn't press your button. I did it for you.
Well, that's fine. I was already buzzed in. You can buzz it again. It's not how you do it.
All right, that went terribly wrong.
Yeah, it
we
went
should
pretty
practice that
badly.
one for next time.
We should. We still got the answer, though.
Yes, Cloud Drake is, on average, alive much longer than other Drakes. A lot of the times, Drakes will go down within a minute of spawning. Not the first Drake, but then the second, third, fourth, and so on, because people really want to get these nice, fancy Drakes. And now we get a swap, Pulse. We know delayed lane swap.
We do.
Doesn't count as a lane swap, but we call that
Call it
anyway.
that, yeah. Ray's going to take a tower shot, and Smitty, he's just dancing back and forth. He's not really under pressure of dying here, but Giants will get the tower first in the bot side. Yeah, Smitty's already used his ultimate, so this tower will also go down. So we're just going to see a simple trade here. What does that mean from here? Can either team capitalize and do anything more, or is it just a tower trade?
I mean, again, naturally, you start either looking at mid lane or you look at the objective in the river just behind where you pushed. So for Giants, it will be the Dragon. For Roccat, it will be the Rift Herald. But in this situation here, none of the teams really benefit from Rift Herald because you are playing these team fighting mages here and not really split pushers
Yeah, Rumble
specifically.
not really known for a split push.
And also, none of the teams really want the Cloud Drake, so they're kind of like, meh,
Yeah.
we don't want our price. It kind of is a sucky one. So instead, they hovered around mid, and they're like, all right, it's pretty obvious that we're all mid now. And then everyone just kind of backs away from it. So it's fun to see how none of them really want the river objectives. I do think at this point, you take the Cloud Drake to see what the next one is.
Yeah.
Especially if you're Giants and you had a good start, like your Rumble. Yes, he was under pressure because he was stuck in a 1v1 lane with no tower, but he's been doing just fine. He has his protocol completed. He's getting very strong towards the mid game. And you have this armor penetration jhin. I think if you're Giants, you are ready to fight. And that's why taking a dragon to just get the next one spawning can really benefit you and sets up an easy objective to force a fight around.
I'm sad to Fisher because you promised me an exciting, lots of kills in the early game.
It will happen.
It will happen
In the mid game.
in the mid game.
We're mid game now. 15 minutes, that's pretty much mid game.
We can call it. Yeah, we're
it's
basically
mid-game.
out of any phase.
Otherwise, we just make up our own words here. We don't care.
It's absolutely fine. Giants are going to take top tower. I'm going to see a trade in the bottom side as well. So once again, just trading towers. And I think you're right. I would like to see someone take the Cloud Dragon right now, just so we get another one, which will be Cloud again. And then the teams will just back away.
But then it's not as bad if you start getting 2 or 3 of them. You just wish it was something else. But once you start stacking them,
you
they
get
actually
3,
do
it's
give
really
you
good.
some bonuses. Giants are a little bit slow in this push here. So they're actually allowing Roccat to get a lot of damage on tower. This was a very poor decision from Giants. They were far behind on the play. And now they're just leaving Sonstar, meaning Parang can recall and actually just catch this wave. Sonstar won't be able to kill it in time. And yeah, Roccat definitely wins out on this small trade.
Yeah, screwed that one up. Weird as well, because they managed to take the tower first. And then they were like, all right, good job, guys. Back to base. That was a good day's work.
And like, wait a minute. No, don't back to base. And like, oh, now we already start recall, and now we're a little bit too late. And instead, Pulse Arena, we are setting up for mid-game fights.
Mid-game fights.
Get
I wish
hyped.
everyone at home could have seen that dance that you did, because it was fantastic.
I am not a dancer.
Come into this mid lane. Does not land the W, but will land the ultimate. Maxlore is going to come in here as well, but it's not enough damage and will be blocked out by the shield. Roccat coming out here to save Betsy's life. So good attempt by Giants, but didn't pan out in the end.
I like the play again, though. Giants have been controlling, especially the bottom side. River, so set up another gank on Betsy. Double summoners blown, he's back to base, or well, he should go back to base very soon, he's recalling now. That could set up your dragon. Or it forces Roccat into a very bad team fight. So I really like the play. Maxlore is constantly in the jungle of Airwaks. Finds him.
Yep, he's going to get the knock up, but he is rek'sai versus Hecarim. So Hecarim's going to hit E, and rek'sai doesn't have enough damage from Queen's Wrath, so he's just going to walk away on all fours and go back into the mid lane. So nothing really there. We do have some items being picked up though. Double Rod of Ages, of course, from Roccat. At some point they probably will go for the Zhonya's Hourglass, but not right now, because Spectre's Cow is being picked up by Betsy. Scared of the double AP threats in the mid game from Knight and Smitty. You already mentioned Fred about, so. What are you giggling about?
No one wants to take this dragon.
Well, no, it's
just
Cloud
take
Dragon.
it so we can see the next one. Again, both teams want to fight around these objectives. One team wants to flank on it, the other team wants to set up and force you to run at them so they can lay down Cassiopeia W, Snare from Jhin, ulti from Rumble. Like, you have an insane comp if you're Giants, if the other team is forced to engage on you. Don't put yourself in a situation where your only win condition will be Baron setups. That's why getting these early dragons is good, no matter which dragon it is. Just get a few of them, because suddenly when the Elder Drake starts spawning, that's a second way for you to win games with these kind of comps. Because Giants obviously can start sieging and use this Jhin W with the Cassiopeia W we talked about, but it's so much harder because you need to be aware of every single ward around you. Because if there's a ward behind you, Lissandra TPs in, Hecarim comes flying in with it, and then suddenly you lose the team fight. So it's very, very difficult for Giants when you have to ward both sides.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we spoke about earlier on to the game, right? Well, Giants actually have the warding setup, and right now they just don't feel confident in themselves that they have the warding setup. So that's why we're getting this little bit of lag here, because if they did go for it and pull the trigger right now, Roccat have 2 good wards behind them at Dragon if they decides to go in. So actually it would not be good, because Parang will get the ultimate of the century. Mid lane is now being sieged in, but the minions are quickly dying. And there was a small trap set up as well by Sonstar, so Roccat do back away, but get a bit of chip damage on the mid lane. But Knight and Smitty are coming in from both sides, but I mean, there's still a tower there, so not looking for the dive right now. And we are stalling out, my friend.
We are definitely stalling out, but remember, these are 2 teams who really, really want to win this game, because they're down in the bottom half of our standings, and it's all about avoiding promotion tournaments. So I'm not surprised to see 2 teams not risking it. Yeah, you can maybe say it's lacking confidence. They just gotta get out there, man, you know. Meet some people.
Yeah, get out in the world. The world is your oyster.
Get out there,
man.
man.
Make some contacts.
Yeah, fight people in the game, not in the real life. And again, it makes sense. If you get a 2-0 here for either team, it's fantastic. You start creating some distance between you and the other bottom half teams.
Yeah.
No one wants to sit as number 10, and right now it is Roccat technically, even though they're actually on 7 points, like Giants, like Unicorns are as well, and like Origin are. They're all one big happy or sad group.
One big sad family, trying to get some points, trying to
the siege
get
pulse.
out. The
wait for W,
from,
wait for W from Cassiopeia.
From Knight, yeah, he'll place it behind the tower and try and zone away Roccat. Kind of the mid lane, the Caitlyn of mid lane. But he's not going to do it right now. It's actually really good. We did some testing on it, and doesn't stop dashes once they've already started, so you can dash through the miasma, you can't dash in the miasma. So one very interesting thing is Vi, we haven't seen it for a long while, but you actually can't reactivate your Q, so you keep charging up and then you just fizzle out and nothing happens. So
right, and in this game here, let's say Lissandra is in the middle of the Cassiopeia W. She actually can't claw out of it, because she can't reactivate it for her, because she's grounded, which is weird, because grounded is not used on a lot of spells, but it basically just means that you can't dash or blink out of it.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck in it, you can't dash and blink. You can only run out of it. and you're slowed down, obviously.
But what is useful is if you are teleporting out, you can interrupt the animation with Miasma from Cassiopeia. So that is actually a very practical application.
Yeah, sadly in this game,
in side lane with Parang, never. But
it is a situation where if Giants can see the ward that Parang is TPing to, you put down the Miasma on the ward, and Parang actually can't jump in and claw towards you.
Can't flash, he can't.
No, you force him there. He can only ult himself. Or ult someone else if they're running to him, but he can't really properly flank if you can see the ward. So that means Roccat needs to move the wards a little bit further away when they're TPing in, and wow, 22 minutes.
22 minutes.
First dragon.
Just because Knight can solo it. Giants don't want to commit everyone over there, but now that Giants can take it without taking any damage, and honestly, not a lot of mana hit either, it's absolutely fine. Next dragon is going to be Ocean, as our observers just showed us.
Not very exciting at this point.
No,
You want it
it's
early
not
game. You don't really want it mid-game.
Not right now.
I feel like we're just getting rotten flowers here, so prices.
Rotten flowers. I've never heard that word used in conjunction with flowers, but I think you're right. Here comes engage from Giants, though, kind of out of nowhere. Betsy is caught out and CC'd up, but no one's really doing any damage from now. They are. Airwaks comes into the backline. Parang picks up the first kill onto Knight. Ultimate comes in from Parang, but it's not going to do as much right now. Hustlin will now back away, looking for these twin fangs. Sonstar from long range is still backing off, opening up with the curtain call. Lands the first, the second onto Parang. Looking for the fourth as well. Will be knocked up. They're actually going to take out Raze.
You want to be the hero.
Steps in there as well. And Parang was already out. That would have gone wide. Maxlore, he's still hunting for some prey, but doesn't have enough damage on that prey seeker. 2-2 trade overall.
Very even fight, and a little bit out of nowhere. Both teams been hovering around mid lane for quite some time, because they're like, we're supposed to fight right now, but we can't really properly start it. And then I believe it was Giants who actually engaged in first, which is not what they want to do with their comp, but let's see the replay. They do get a tower.
So everyone burnt every summoner. Every single summoner was
First
burnt
fight
on them.
in 23
no one's
minutes.
been using any summoners, and they just kind of like saw each other in the river and did like Pokemon thing. They made eye contact and they just like launched at each other and just burnt everything. So yeah, that was interesting. So we're now going to wait another 5 minutes until everyone's summoners are back up, and then we'll go again.
Now, the bag is open.
Okay, what's in the bag?
More fights will happen. Fights are in the bag.
Fights,
and then I open, they're getting out, you know. Getting in. All
take
the
me
four,
through this
let's see.
replay, Deficio.
So, it's actually Giants looking to fight here, even though they're technically ones who wants Roccat to engage on them. And Knight takes a lot of damage, the great ulti from Airwaks in the backline. Beautiful play from him, and Parang follows. So, really good use of the combat. Look, Pulse. More fighting
in the bag. Hustlin is going to try and get away, but he's going to be ulted by Parang. They'll pick up a fast kill onto the support and the mid tower. Roccat get a good advantage and will equalize the game.
Giants are trying to move Knight to the side lane, but he doesn't have TP on his Cassiopeia. And again, so much hard engage from Roccat. That's really risky to do, and that sets up this push on the mid tower. Dead even in gold.
Yep.
24 minutes in. Good statement right there.
Thank you,
Call me Sherlock Holmes. That's what I do.
You know, what I haven't been impressed by so far is Knight's Cassiopeia, because I was incredibly hyped for this, because I've seen it before in other regions when he's been playing, and then he picked up Cassiopeia and was like, he's going to make some sick plays. Has so far had 2 okay ultimates. Like, the first one hit the back of Betsy, and the last team fight didn't really hit anyone.
So your definition is if you just hit the back, it's okay?
It's
and
okay.
if you stun, it's great. So you go
well,
from
if he
great,
hits multiple
okay.
people, yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, that's what I want to see. Like, we saw that highlight clip of him in mid lane outplaying 3 people at the same time.
Yeah. See, that's the problem about highlight clips, right?
You never live up to the hype.
Yeah, you get very high expectations. You expect more. It's not real always. It's not how real life always is.
Yeah.
You know, highlight clips. It could have been him in 500 games.
Oh, this composition played to perfection. What that hit! Nice hitbox, and he just goes down. He had another shot as well ready, but that kind of just like clipped his arm and just like took him out.
Did a lot more damage than I expected. It wasn't even a crit, it was just a second shot.
All right, goodbye, Raze.
Takes down Raze, and let's see. Roccat can still technically engage on this one. They are in here. It's only the support who's dead, but it is risky. Knight is setting up that wave on top side. Sonstar's been pretty good on this jhin here, running some good ultis.
That's what I'm saying, man. These lower performing ADCs are performing so well on jhin. But also good setup from Maxlore. He landed a Prey Seeker, which allowed Sonstar to follow up with the Deadly Flourish, but it was still good.
That's why we like these long-range abilities with jhin. Like, don't just pick jhin out of nowhere, but stuff like this. Great setup. That's the first, so that's also through the shield. Man, that did way more damage than I expected. Obviously, I guess a Thunderlord proc as well, because you had the
That's
W
true.
into the ulti and then second shot. And when you do have some good AD early on.
300, yeah, so that makes sense. All right.
That was the thing we missed.
I get it. Still a lot of damage, because like he probably would have done something, because he had flash, and he had other abilities, and he could have flashed out of it, but he's like, I can take one more shot before dodging the final one, and maybe by then someone could body block for him, because he was running to his team. So yeah, gotta respect the Thunderlords, man, even in this mid game. Knight taking this one away as well, and we're starting to get more and more items, starting to hit like 2 item spikes on people, which is really nice for the likes of Hecarim, who can get shut down in the early game and just jump in and die, but now he's a lot harder to take out. Now he's got Cinderhook and Spirit Visage. Top lane doing rumble things where you just go spell penetration after you've got your Predator belt. That is the build.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, you just type in spell penetration in the shop, and then you just click everything that comes up. And there you have rumble build.
I'm just rewatching how much damage he did exactly on the last one. So he had 480 HP, and then he got hit by Thunderlords and the second hit. So that's 480 damage from Sonstar.
Well,
and we're trying
again, Raze. No, this time you have flash. Yeah, that was probably a good choice, but you got one more to go. Steeelback has to take it. Airwaks is trying to come in there.
What a hero.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Raze definitely respected that ultimate a little more this time. Betsy's going to find Maxlore. He's going to land a full combo as well. Here comes the Torment, and now Betsy will back off.
I mean, Sonstar is loving this game because no one is really doing anything against him.
No, I mean, it's a Jhin dream, right? You can just sit at range and just launch all your abilities.
Roccat has one random pink ward at the blue buff of Giants, and that's it. There's nothing else behind Giants, so there's no threat of a TP flank, followed by a Hecarim with the late game ghost just charging in his face. No. He has the river for himself, he has the mid lane for himself, and he just sits there, waits for Maxlore to land a little Prey Seeker, and then he just starts flying away. That's Braum being started with a Cassiopeia, by the way. That's quick.
It goes down real fast. Rumble also came in here with a Flame Spitter, but now everyone's coming in from Roccat looking for disengage. Onslaught, the shadows onto 3, but it's smited away by Maxlore. Betsy's going to get right into the middle of everyone from Giants, but there's a good ultimate from Knight. He'll shut him down. That's another kill onto Steeelback, and Airwaks is trying to get onto Maxlore, but Parang's going to have to go golden. Well, Airwaks doesn't have anything to do. He's going to have to try and do something. Launches onto Sonstar. He'll flash away, coming in for the double kill. That's a 5-for-1 for Giants.
Such a great call from Giants. A big issue for them in the past with these Baron calls where they would go at wrong times. But this one, honestly, a good call because they would get a fight no matter what, and their composition wants Roccat to dive onto them. Secure the Baron. You have a Cassiopeia. She can really burst it down quickly. Sonstar as well, able to pick up more kills. Remember, we talked about this earlier. It's armor penetration in your masteries. That's one of the reasons you go with Thunderlords, for the flat armor pen. Armor penetration in your build, in your runes. So when you hit the mid to early late game and you have these 2 or 3 items all giving you armor penetration, you do so much damage. Especially also because on the side of Roccat, you look at Airwaks here, he's building magic resistance. So no one can really tank the damage from Sonstar. So the good call from Giants, take the Baron just in time. And now Sunstar's just outside of the pit. No one is even hitting him. He just crits Steeelback for 728. He's like, yeah, hello.
Sonstar's having such a good fight. Look at him, he's just standing still and hitting people for ridiculous amounts of damage. I actually wonder how much damage Sonstar did in that fight. Everyone just pops.
I just feel like all of Roccat, they just don't see him. They're like, where's everyone else on the side of Giants? Let's dive in on MaxLore, SmityJ, Knight, kill these guys. And Sonstar stood outside the Baron pit. He's like, pop, pop, pop. Oh, crit ready. Oh, is that Steeelback? 728 damage. Dead. There we go. And you win the team fight. Duskblade now completed for him as well. Love it.
Here it comes. Love it. So much damage comes out from that.
He needs a QSS though.
Item.
Instead of another crit item, he should just get QSS now.
Nah, he just needs more crit, more damage. Just go ham.
The only way he can die right now is if Parang gets onto him, ults him, and he then just goes down in like one rotation.
You're right. I mean, like, he already has enough damage. He's got 66 flat penetration, which is true damage to Steeelback, Raze, and almost Airwaks. Betsy and Parang are the only ones with more than 100 armor. So Sonstar is literally doing true damage with his auto attacks and abilities. So quite scary.
And it's interesting. Roccat has put focus on getting magic resist, yet they have not picked up a locket, which is the best for your team you could have done. Instead, straight kills from Raze just against the snare from Sonstar and the stun from Knight. That is not worth it. That should have been a locket, 100%.
No, I don't disagree with you, Martin. Giants do get hit up by the Never move, but there's no real engage right now. Giants are going to come in here, try and get some long-range poke out from Sonstar. If they can get a bit of damage down in the snare, maybe they can get a pick. Airwaks taking a lot of damage. He's actually not that tanky compared to the massive amount of damage coming in from Giants.
And this comp here from Roccat that relied so much on getting ahead early with Swain, with Hecarim. These picks now are just so weak because they're set behind. Airwaks is trying to get a Trinity Force as his third fully completed item. You're 0 and 1. Like, you just go full tank at that point. You abandon this third Trinity Force. I know you love it. I know it's fantastic, but late game, that single item won't make much of a difference. So you just have these champions that couldn't really afford falling behind. They lost these mid-game fights, small fights. Betsy taking damage.
Another curtain call coming in from Sonstar. 3 shots, 4 shots, onto Raze. He's going to body block. He wants to flash away. He was not really the right person to body block right there, I've got to be honest. Giants going to use Maxlore to tank up this tower, and Sonstar will take pot shots and eventually take it down. Betsy's going to have to back away, taking all these harpoons to the face from Smitty. Beatrice goes down. He's going to scare him away. Good job, Beatrice.
Airwaks are trying to look for a potential flank, but there are wards on him. He's going to ghost up here. He's going in now. Pause. Get ready. Get ready.
Hustlin. Looking for that ultimate coming out from Hecarim. He's not going to come in just yet. Braum comes in from the front door, and Giants are all together trying to chunk him down. They take him out. But now here comes Betsy. Do they have the damage? Sonstar, he's still kicking. He goes down along with Hustlin. And Razor looking to put out some damage as well. But Maxlore, he's onto Betsy. And this is a very messy fight. A 3-for-2 advantage Giants. Maxlore had his Guardian Angel burn.
Always like to see items like GA when you're winning. Get it, because it just means in these fights here, take you down twice. It's already hard enough killing you once. You see here, Roccat had to invest everything after Sonstar went down. That means Giants will still win the fight. I like the flank, I like the engage, but they're going for Steeelback.
He still had the combo. Goodbye, Steeelback.
Was that a cooldown in the last fight?
I have no idea, but what I know for certain is Steeelback is dead. He still had flash. But, yeah, I don't get in range of rek'sai. But that happens.
Man, Pulse Arena. Roccat fell behind. They had a great engage, honestly. They got onto Sonstar a little bit delayed. Managed to take him out. So let's see. Where's SmityJ and his ulti in this one? It is on cooldown, it looks like. But, so they get onto Sonstar in the end, but now Knight is just left untouched. There's always one damage dealer from Giants left untouched, and Roccat are just not tanky enough because they're falling behind to kill that one guy.
Yeah.
Survive the damage from the other one, then switch later. So it's always like invest everything to kill one and then go down. So if they go for Knight, we're gonna be like, oh, look at Sonstar. He's open, he's free, he's killing them. And if they kill Sonstar, well, we look at Knight being like, oh, look at Knight. He's just machine gunning away, he's killing them. And they Trinity Force Hecarim when you're behind. Nope, that's a no-go. Never do that. Swain when he falls behind, not a strong pick. That's a no-go. And then suddenly you have a composition that doesn't really have any answers. You need Giants now to completely mess up a fight, which has happened in the past. So it's definitely not over yet. Do not tune away yet, because this game could still go completely wrong. 40-second Baron. Last week, 45 minutes in, Giants were winning. It was great. We were praising them. Everyone was happy. Then 45 minutes, they went for Baron. Didn't set up for it at all, just rushed the Baron. GIA stole it, won the team fight, won the game for Schalke.
Yeah, they went full Noah's Ark. They went in like 2x2 and just constantly died.
Completely.
And then they just lost the game. And it was like, oh, okay.
Pretty sure in Noah's Ark they don't walk in 2-2 and die.
No, they make it out alive.
Yeah, I feel like your story there is...
a little bit flawed, perhaps?
Maybe.
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe.
You have your own story.
I do, yeah. I'm breaking the mold. There we go. Rewriting history. Roccat trying to rewrite this game. But, yeah, it was weird for my Airwaks, though. He was hanging around the back of the fight. It's like, here comes the ultimate, here comes the ultimate. And then the front engages first. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you need Parang also to be able to flank, right?
Yeah.
Like, Parang actually has to go in first, technically, and then Airwaks follows. Baron is being started. This time, look how Giants is setting up a lot more safe around the Baron.
Good zoning all from Hustlin. SmityJ's also trying to zone away. Airwaks comes in, trying to get to smite, doesn't happen. Now
he's alone now.
He's in way too deep. Giants are just going to obliterate him. Betsy is going to go into the Zhonya's hourglass. Steeelback's going to run away. Betsy gets taken down. 3-0. Giants get everything they wanted.
Like, Roccat in this game are simply not able to coordinate engages. Steeelback, he's going to try and run, but Parang wasn't even in that fight. He didn't even join in time.
Nope. Steeelback's going to... Oh, SmityJ's going to chase him down. I think that might just speed the game here, Deficio. Knight and the rest of his team are just pushing in. They have all these minions.
You know it's going to be game when the cams come up.
Yeah, like, take them down. Game's not ending. But no, it's going to be the game here. Parang's the only one remaining. He's going to pop the ultimate on himself, try and buy some time, but he's literally just scratching the surface really on Giants' health bars, and they're going to focus the Nexus in itself. Parang goes down, padding the stats, earning his fancy point, and that's game 1 over to Giants.
Apart from